issues. So if you can see that on your screen,
we can
kind of superimposed it with us here. I don't know, because it looks smaller, so I thought maybe we could get a better idea. But
for the most part, this is showing what percentage of the population along the coast lives within an active tsunami zone. So you're looking at basically sea level to about, say, 50 feet. And that's kind of what we think in the science community is the danger zone for people living on the coast. And I mean, you look at that, Astoria, Warrenton, Gearhart, Seaside, Cannon Beach, all these places are built right at sea level. And in the last few years, you've seen communities like Seaside put the high school up on the hill. They're moving City Hall and eventually the fire station up there. So in the event we do get a tsunami, you're not going to wreck all of your infrastructure. But there's so many buildings that would be destroyed anyways, just because based on a high, water height, you're just going to have buildings destroyed. Hotels are going to suffer significant damage. So it's something that we do think about consistently.
So moving those structures, up higher from sea level so that a potential tsunami wouldn't impact them then?
Exactly. And so if we get a Cascadia subduction quake, which is the big one, which we all kind of fear, it's, that mega thrust quake that we will feel from Seattle to San Francisco, right? And that's the one that we all worry about. And if we do get a tsunami based on that, it would inundate the communities along the coast. So if you can move all of your key infrastructure up to higher points, the chances of survival drastically increase. So Seaside had a hospital at sea level. You get a 50-foot wave, it's not going to knock the building over, but it's going to, basically cancel any operation that you can run from that hospital. So you move up in elevation, you have a better chance to keep the hospital open and, a place to help survivors go and people that are injured receive care they need.
100%, and just better, to be prepared ahead of time.
Exactly.
Instead of scrambling with damage and stuff like that. And then what would be the potential impact here in Portland if that were to happen, Bobby?
So if we were to get a Cascadia subduction quake, obviously we would have issues with lots of the brick buildings in Portland would come down. We know that, and the city has talked for a long time about trying to restructure those and get those up to earthquake code. We know the county and the city have said that the Burnside Bridge would probably collapse right near Fire Station 1, where Saturday Market is. Most of the bridges would probably suffer significant damage. Really, the only bridge that is technically kind of earthquake-proof is the Tillicum Crossing that TriMet just built. However, the roads up to the bridge are actually not to earthquake code. They had to skimp, and this is public knowledge, when they built that, and so the egress up to the bridge is not earthquake safe.
So just the bridge
so the
bridge,
the structure would be fine, but we would see significant damage across the city. A few years ago, the New York Times put out an article, anything west or east of I-5 would be fine. Obviously, that's not the case. There's not some magic defining line that east of I-5. You'll see bridges across the Pacific Northwest suffer damage. You'll see lots of buildings suffer damage. If we do get a tsunami off of this, Portland's not immune from that. Water would rush up the Columbia River into the Portland Harbor, all the way up to Oregon City. We would see a rise in water there.
Especially with all the rivers we have here. I didn't even think about that.
And you have to remember, from Bonneville Dam to the Pacific Coast, and from Oregon City, the Oregon City Falls to the Pacific Coast, those rivers, the Willamette and Columbia, are based on the tidal flow of what the ocean is. So that's why you see the Columbia and the Willamette change height every day based off the tides all the way out in the Pacific Ocean.
That's just, I don't have a science background. Bobby is about to get his meteorology degree, so that is why he has such an excellent knowledge of weather and meteorology. But we don't really think about those things then, I guess. But it's very scary. At least Portland city officials, though, over on the coast, they are preparing for any possibility out there.
And I really think since the last major earthquake and tsunami that we saw, obviously Fukushima in Japan, that really kind of started this ball rolling again of getting our elected leaders, especially on the state level, county level, city level, to revisit their emergency plans. And Oregon has since put out an Oregon Resilience Guide that's available online. Just type in Oregon Resilience Guide. But it's also allowed communities on the coast and, even in Portland to put together a plan. So you can go online, there's interactive maps where you can see, put in your address, it will tell you where your elevation is. And you'll be able to see, okay, am I level 1, 2, or 3 tsunami zone? Is my house safe?
So
and there are plenty of places, and there are plenty of places along the coast where you just go inland, a short distance and you climb really high in the elevation, you're going to be safe from potential tsunami. But again, it's just kind of waiting and watching for that to happen. So state leaders, local leaders, everybody's trying to build up resilience for earthquakes. And it's a slow grind, but it is happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, refit all of our infrastructure, because I know most of the newer buildings have some of the earthquake protections compared to the older buildings. So,
exactly.
Yeah, we gotta
Places like the Fox Tower downtown is pretty earthquake resilient. Nothing is ever earthquake proof because you just don't know. I mean, a magnitude 2 earthquake, you might feel it. A magnitude 5 earthquake, yeah, you're going to feel it, probably some damage. A 7.4, 7.5, what we saw yesterday in Taiwan,